cleric. A cleric could be a player in a game, or even on a quest that a dungeon master is, doing their thing with. But a cleric cannot sit over a dungeon master. It's just that way. It's just like, because the DM can play every character. It's like, I remember years ago, I was, I don't want to say years ago because I don't believe in time, but so I'm waitressing and they put me in charge of managing the restaurant when I threatened to quit after like 8 years or something. And what I found is that if you manage a restaurant, you have to know how to wash the dishes, you have to know how to prep cook, full cook, everything else, the accounting, every single job that is there in the restaurant, because if somebody doesn't show up, you have to be able to fill in every single slot, and you have to know how every single job is done. How are they going to do their job too if you don't know what their job entails? And so a dungeon master has to be able to play every character, and a priest is incapable of doing said things because they have a specific agenda and it's too constrained. By most people's, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. You guys can think about it. But so I was thinking about it and I was like, one of the things about being a dungeon master, and this is the difference between a dungeon master and a priest. When you're a dungeon master and you prepare a quest, or you get a quest from a book and you have like additions you make to it or whatever you're doing, you're actually really looking forward to how the quest will go in a not fully anticipated manner. You do have an idea of a whole bunch of options of ways it could go, but it's not unthought of that dungeon masters, when the players do surprising maneuvers, the dungeon master will sometimes allow them and then say, all right, we got to reconvene in a week because I'm going to have to go write chapters that aren't in this book so we can continue to play on this thread. What? Oh yeah. Dungeon Master guidebooks generally have, like, it's like a chapter book where you can choose your own adventure, kind of. So the players on the quest together, who are real people, who really work on their characters, like, they could make surprising decisions. And I remember Frank, one of our dungeon masters, was like, and I'm going to take a week and I'm going to try to write this to be able to accommodate these like just really surprising decisions you guys made. So when you're a master, like the human brain, a normal brain gets hits of dopamine from mystery, from not fully understanding something, right? So when you're a dungeon master and you set up a campaign and the people on the campaign make surprising decisions, or you're not sure what hits. So like there's a difference and a distinction to be drawn between a person in the 3D law of attraction who sort of like maps out how everybody's me pushed out and everybody's me, and I want my play to go exactly this way, and then the people have to act a certain way in order for you to get a dopamine hit, means that you're getting a dopamine hit from people obeying you, which is sort of exploitative and not very curious. Whereas a person who's like going into it on a Dungeons and Dragons quest is, in part, there's some parts that are known. It's more like a yogi, where they say it's like 50-50, like tossing a coin. About 50% of the time they go with the book, and about 50% of the time they go with what is going on here. Where's this? What the fuck is this? What are you guys doing? Because the curiosity measure is greater. Okay, depending on who you are. If you have an anterior cingulate cortex that operates different from the main part of the population, then you may get a dopamine hit from exploiting and tricking people, okay? But for 80% of the population, the majority of the time, they get dopamine hits from bits of mystery and stuff like that. And so there's a difference between a 3D law of attraction person who's trying to map out their perfect future and a person who's going into it like a dungeon master who wants to be surprised. who would enjoy a delightful turn of events. Because when you play Dungeons and Dragons, you're anticipating that each person is so invested in their character. That's part of it. It's like an acting gig where you can get your like, but where it's in a land of pretend where you can like actually process emotions and have adventures without actually killing people. It's a lot like the Monty Python Quest for the Holy Grail. When you play, on the Quest for the Holy Grail, they're not killing anyone. They're filming a pretend film in the park with, tinfoil fucking hats and like swords, and no one's getting hurt. People aren't getting hurt. Okay. The same thing is true with Dungeons and Dragons. It's a lot like that. It's in your pretendy imagination land. You're not really going out there and, doing anything, but you're processing a lot of feelings during your campaigns and things that it's just a lot of fun. And so for a person who, for a dungeon master kind of thinking, you're going to go into hoping for those little hits of dopamine because people really invest themselves in their character. But when you're a kind of person who is like of the priestly class and you're more controlling, you're not designed to get a hit of dopamine from people acting out of character. You're more designed trying to keep them within your framework. And that's fine for you, but that's not the same person. It's not the same framework. It's not the same mythology. Like a dungeon master could put themselves in the mind of a priest, but then they can snap back out of it and just as easily become a magi, or just as easily become an atheist, or just as easily become one of the other people on the campaigns while they're in the midst of trying to put the stories together.